I suffered from the same delusion that most people did, right? And that is that as the owner, I've got to be the hardest worker. As the owner, I've got to be the one doing everything. I suffered from that same delusion. In fact, you know, I listen to all of these gurus out there now telling me that you got to hustle and grind, and you know, you're a hustle. I mean, hustle and grind is the new stupid. There is no other way to put it. It is just like. But unfortunately, what we're taught when we go into business is that, you know, you have to do 20 hours a day. You have to do all these things. And what happens by doing that is you cover up all the inefficiencies in your business. By working that hard, you actually make the business inefficient. You ruin the business by doing too much yourself, and you're not creating a business that works. You're creating a person that works. You know, and ultimately, if you have to go into your business, you don't have a business, you have a job and you work for an idiot. There's no other way to put it other than that.
This is going to be amazing. You got a lot of people on this call today.
I think the biggest miss that people make in terms of selling it.
And that's what a good marketing message, good branding does.
How does somebody do something big in a very short period of time?
I'm super excited about this. Brad Sugars is the founder of Action Coach, which is one of the largest coaching businesses in the world. So if you don't know about Action Coach, you need to look it up because it is absolutely huge. And he has just scaled like what a lot of people think is a non-scalable business, right? But he's doing this with a billionaire mindset, right? Not a millionaire mindset, a billionaire mindset. So I'm super excited to introduce Brad Sugars. Brad, are you there?
What's up? It's a morning drop off for the kids, and then it's time to chat and teach people business. See, one of the great things about building a business works without you is you don't actually have to go to the office. You can just do whatever you like. And I like dropping my kids to school every day. So you know,
that's amazing.
Part of the fun things.
Yeah, that's amazing. So, you know, I know you've been releasing a lot on your Instagram lately about, you know, one of the recent posts was the 30X list. It's like it's a list of 30X things, and it's pretty much a 30-day challenge. So you talk about go big, dream, goal, learn, act, plan. When you look at all these 30X habits, this 30-day challenge that you put together, what do you see sticks out for people the most? What's the biggest aha on that list?
Dang, that's a tough one. There's a reason I created a 30-day challenge is because there's 30 subjects that I think are all just as important as each other. And so I created a 30X challenge for business, 30X challenge for life, and a 30X challenge for your wealth, because I think they're the three areas that most people sort of get, you know, want to learn in. If I'm looking at life, I would probably say it's the understanding of growing into your goals. I would imagine that, you know, a lot of people set goals of things that they already know they can do, and that's not really a goal. That's a to-do list item. The goal factor is where you build a dream or a goal, which is something you have to grow into. And that's where most people will say things like, you know what, I don't know if you can achieve that. You know, when you set a goal and someone doubts you, someone says to you, I don't think you can do that. Then you go, you're right. The person I am today cannot achieve that. That's why I set that goal. I set the goal so that I can grow into the person that can achieve that goal. My job is to grow into that person. My job is to become better so that the goal is actually achievable for me. And the goal becomes a very easy reality for me at that point in time.
Yeah. It's very interesting. A lot of people, you know, use positive affirmations and go, I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. But sometimes it's actually a good self-awareness exercise and habit to go, no, I can't do it. As I stand right now, I can't do it. Therefore, I have to up level.
Yeah, if I could have done it, if I could do it, I would have already done it. So I gotta grow into the person that can actually do that. I gotta grow and become that person and become the you know what I mean? It's like, if you don't grow into your goals, then you're never going to achieve those goals. They're never going to become a reality for you. So
let's talk about emotional detachment in this process. Because like that's the thing. Cause you know, you coach, you know, I mean, you have what, 7,000 employees across all of your companies?
Approximately. Yeah. I would imagine it's probably a little bit bigger these days, but that's about right.
So my question is that's not clients, that's, team members, right? So
That's team members. Yeah.
So clients is what would you say?
Oh, if I just take Action Coach, we have about 18,000 one-to-one clients every week, and we have about 280, 300,000 group clients. So yeah, hundreds of thousands.
So you've been, you have enough statistical significance running Action Coach to answer this question. The question revolves around this emotional attachment to the business that causes people to delude themselves into thinking I'm the only person that could do X. So was there an experience that you had or a principle you come back to where it's like you almost step back in like a meditative place and you see this orb that is called the business, right? Is there a practice? Is there an insight, a light bulb moment where you were like, whoa, I'm getting too into this thing. Take a step back and let's build the thing.
Well, first and foremost, I suffered from this same delusion that most people did, right? And that is that as the owner, I've got to be the hardest worker. As the owner, I've got to be the one doing everything. I suffered from that same delusion. In fact, I listen to all of these gurus out there now telling me that you got to hustle and grind and you're a hustle. I mean, hustle and grind is the new stupid. There is no other way to put it. It is just like, but unfortunately, what we're taught when we go into business is that, you have to do 20 hours a day. You have to do all these things. And what happens by doing that is you cover up all the inefficiencies in your business. By working that hard, you actually make the business inefficient. You ruin the business by doing too much yourself. And you're not creating a business that works, you're creating a person that works, and ultimately if you have to go into your business, you don't have a business, you have a job and you work for an idiot. There's no other way to put it other than that. And so now that doesn't mean you don't go in, it just means you don't have to. There's a big difference between the two, okay? So for me, I was early 20s, I was running other companies, plus I'd started Action Coach. And I was with Action Coach, I think I was doing about 200 events a year, 200 seminars a year. So that meant 200 plus room nights in hotels, 200 plus flights. And after 2 years of doing that, I just got to the point. Now, luckily I was young enough that I could do that, but it still got to a point of, oh my God, I can't do this anymore. This is insane. I'm not building a business. I'm doing the exact opposite of what I'm teaching. I've built something that is purely dependent upon me. And so I had to step back and say, listen, I got to create a business that works so I don't have to. And that's ultimately what it is. What we're aiming to achieve is we're aiming to, like if I go to my definition of a business, business is a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. Commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. And hence my 6 steps to building a business, which we can go into in a moment. What we're aiming to achieve there is we're aiming to achieve something that is an asset, something that is a saleable item. If you don't finish the business, you can't sell it. Let's just finish that for a second. If the business doesn't run without you, it's very hard to sell. If you have to be there to run the business and to sell, to be the business, if you have to show up, then the business doesn't work, you do. And so the point of it is that our goal is to create an asset, because the majority of wealth is not created through the cash flow, through the wages, through the profitability of the business. The majority of the wealth is created through the value of the business. Bill Gates wasn't one of the richest people in the world by his wages from Microsoft or the profits per annum or dividends. He was the wealthiest man in the world because of the value of the company. He built a company that was worth something. And that's what we've all got to be thinking about, is what is the value of our organization? And if you go and try and sell a business that revolves around you, the only person you can sell it to is someone who knows everything you know. And to find someone who knows everything you know, plus has money, plus wants to buy a business, that's dang hard. That's why most businesses never sell. They end up just being shut down. Whereas if you create something that runs by a management team, there's a team of managers running the business, then you've created an asset that any investor can buy. And therefore you can get top dollar for it rather than trying to sell it to someone who has your skill set, I guess. So For me, with Action Coach back 20 some odd years ago, because we're now, 27, almost 28 years old as a company. 20 odd years ago, I sat back and said, okay, if I'm going to build this, I'm going to build it as a business. Because it was really, when I first started teaching, it was very much fun. I got to travel the world, got paid, and people loved what I was teaching. It was like, this is fun. I'll keep doing this. But you spin that around and you say, okay, how are we going to do this different? And so that's where I ended up building a business where I have lots of partners around the world, franchise partners in all different markets around the world that do a great job. I built a great management team, and that's what you do. You build a management team. You don't hire one, you build one. You hire good, build great. That's what you do with humans, you know. The human capital in any business is one of its greatest assets or its biggest pain. And so your job as the CEO or the chairman or the owner of the company is to build your people so they build your business. If you build them, they'll build it.
So a business is a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like if everyone listening right now just studied that sentence and thought through it and read it and reread it and contemplated on it, I feel like that's the answer. The answer is accepting every word in that sentence, right?
Well, let's break that sentence down, right? Let's break it right down. And first of all, you started this question with the letting go and the ego and the detachment. The hardest part with the ego in this is to understand that your job is not to be the best. Your job is to build the best people. If you as the owner suffer from superheroitis.
Yes, I learned that from you. Oh, yeah. Yes.
It's a good word, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, you want to, anytime there's a problem, you want to dive in and fix it because you're the hero of the moment. You want to be the hero. I don't want to be the hero. I want to create heroes. I want people who are great at what they do. And so you need to build your people into heroes. And it's like, I don't want my people to be as good as me at anything that we do. I want them to be much better than me at anything we do. I don't want to hire people who are qualified to do the job. I want to hire people who are overqualified to do the job. If I'm running a $10 million a year business and I want to get it to $100 million a year, I better hire a gal or hire a guy that's already run a $100 million a year business to build it for me. If they're not overqualified and you're not overpaying for them, they're not going to build the business for you. You know, they're going to keep running it at the same size it is. You want someone that'll build it into this amazing, phenomenal genius of a business. When it comes to the people side of it, you must build your humans. You know, if you build your humans, they build the business for you. How you take care of your people determines how well they take care of the customers, and how well they take care of the customers determines how well the customers take care of the business, which determines how well the business takes care of you. So it's a beautiful cycle. It's a beautiful cycle, or it's a vicious cycle if you try and do all of it yourself. So back to breaking down the commercial profitable enterprise that works without you. So I teach 6 steps to build a business. The bottom level is mastery. That's where we create a commercial enterprise. We do the very fundamentals. We move the business from chaos to control. That's all in my book. Which one's that in? The Business Coach. So you move from chaos to control. Then what you're looking to do is move into the marketing aspect. So mastery is first, marketing is second. The marketing is about my 5 ways formula: leads times conversion rate equals number of customers multiplied by number of transactions, your repeat business rate multiplied by your average sale equals your revenues, and revenues multiplied by margins equals profits.
Can you say that one more time?
There's a whole YouTube on that one. If anyone jumps on my YouTube channel, they can spend 15, 20 minutes with me on that one. It takes a bit of time to explain it, but It's the multiplying factor of marketing. Leads conversion equals customers times transactions times average sale equals revenues times margins equals profits. There's 3 end results in that: customers, revenues, and profits. Unfortunately, they're the 3 areas people focus on. You got to focus on the 5: lead numbers, conversion rate numbers, transaction rate numbers, average sale numbers, and margin numbers. Actually, my first ever book, Instant Cash Flow, I wrote that all about. In fact, it just got re-released, The Apprentice Billionaire's Guide to Cash Flow. That one just got rewritten and re-released and updated. So once you do mastery and get it from chaos to control, you do marketing. And marketing is where you take control of the cash flow. So now you've got consistency of cash flow. From there, you move into systemization. And that's where you add the leverage. Now, leverage, by the way, is, or my definition of leverage, which we could spend hours just on this one subject, is do the work once, get paid forever, or at least long term. So, and there you can define the difference between owners' work and employees' work. Owners' work, long-term payback. Employees' work, do the work once, get paid once. If you're a hairdresser and you're cutting hair, that's employees' work. Owners' work is the marketing, the sales, then the systemization, the planning, the management, all that owner's work. So you go employee work, manager's work, owner's work, and trying to teach people the difference between the three. It's a pretty fun thing to do. So you go mastery first, marketing second, systemization third, which goes back to that leverage of do the work once, get paid forever, because you're trying to build a business that works so you don't have to, rather than building a job for yourself. From systems, you then build team. That's level 4 of the 6 steps. So you then in team, it goes back to that, you build your people, they build your business. And then from team, once you've done those 4 basic fundamentals, then you hit the level called synergy, which is where you go to 30 times, which is now I've got a model that works. Now what I want to do is take that model that works and turn that into 100 locations or 1,000 locations or whatever it might be, or into 100 countries to, scale and expand that thing. And then finally, you hit the level called freedom, where you get to make the decision. Do I sell this business? Do I let it run without me? Do I, which way is it going to be? Like for me, currently, I've either a majority shareholding or full shareholding of 11 different companies. And of those 11 companies, I run them in 2 days a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. And, I go on a board meeting. For most of those companies, I'm on a board meeting once a month. And for several of them, I'm on a board meeting once a week. And that's basically how I run my businesses. So, I used to be the CEO. Now I coach the CEO. So CEOs have been with me a long time. I only need to coach them once a month. CEOs who are fairly new, I coach them once a week.
Wow. You're used to people being mind blown when you talk. So,
well, see, the funny thing is, it's just natural to me. It's what I do. And so when I'm telling people this stuff, and I sometimes forget that this is brand new to all of them. And that's why, I have my Instagram and my Facebook and LinkedIn and YouTube and all those things so that I continuously educate people as much as I can. But, there's a reason I have 17 books, because there's a lot to cover. There's a lot of material.
Yeah. So how do you, when it comes to relationships in the early phases of a company, how do you balance connecting with your team and putting your foot down for standards, right? Because it always kind of, there's this animal fear, this amygdala based fear in the back of our heads that if we enforce a standard in the early stages of a company, that maybe people will quit or they'll get really mad if we do that, because it's easier to be liked than it is to be respected and actually put your foot down for the systems and standards. So what's your belief around that?
I hope they quit. I hope they quit. If you can't keep up, goodbye. In the early days, I was worried about people leaving. In the early days, that sort of scared me if someone left type thing. Now, I'm not saying I want them to leave, but if you've done your recruiting right, you've found people who are passionate about your vision. If you've recruited based on vision and culture first, which if people want to understand what that is, just jump on actioncoach.com and look at our vision, look at our mission statement, look at our culture statements about who we are. Because who we are and why we do what we do is more important than what we actually do. Who we are as humans, as a team, we must gel. If we don't hire based on vision and culture is like your agreed values type thing. If we don't hire on vision and agreed values first, and we hire on skill set first, what we end up with is a bunch of people who have a different set of core values. Therefore, they don't get along. Therefore, it's not going to be a successful business.
Wow. So you hope they quit. I understand.
I'll give you an example. Let me give you an example of that. Zappos.com. Zappos work there, based here in Vegas, right? Now, Zappos has a very strong 5 agreed core culture points, and they hire people based on that. It's about a 6 to 8 week recruitment process. Once you've done that, you then go into their induction program. And their induction program, I think it's 4 weeks. Don't quote me on that. I think it's 4 weeks. But in that induction program, at the end of every week, you are offered $2,000 to quit and not take the job. Because they don't want people who want a job. They want people who want to work at Zappos. And there's a big difference. See, I don't believe in selection of people. I believe in recruiting and deselection. Recruiting, meaning like a sporting team. A sporting team doesn't go and run a help wanted ad when they need a quarterback. They actually go out and seek out the best of the best. And that best person has probably already got a job. That best person is probably already working for another team, another company. So they recruit. They go out and they recruit. You think of how much time and energy a sporting team puts into recruiting versus an average business. An average business doesn't do recruiting. They hire people. When they need a job, they throw a help wanted ad up on Indeed and boom, hopefully someone good will apply this week. No, that's not the way you should be doing it. Recruiting is a proactive strategy to build your business, especially in a fast growth business. Fast growth business like ours, we are recruiting 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. We're always on that path of recruit. Make sure that anytime anyone wants it, and we make sure, because recruiting for us recruiting team members is just as important as recruiting customers. Because if you recruit the right team, then you keep the right customers. And so we put a lot of effort into that. Then we believe in deselection. What I mean by deselection is I'm going to make it hard for you to get a job with me. And if you want to push through, if you want to go through the 5 interviews, if you want to actually do what it takes to get a job here, then we know you want a job with us. We know you don't just want a job. Big difference. So in many cases, the reason people have to do so much management and so much leadership is they recruited badly, and their induction program is awful. They don't even have an induction program. Like you go to Disney, if you go to work for Disney Corporation. Now I went to Disney and learned this stuff. Gosh, dang, that's 20 something years ago. So I may have changed it, but they used to do a 6-week induction program where you had to learn the history of the organization. If someone comes into your organization and they don't know the history of your company, they don't know, like they haven't seen photographs of the garage where you started the business or the kitchen desk where you started the business. If they haven't seen those things, then they don't have any respect for where the company came from. You've got to teach your people the history. I worked with a professional sporting team in Australia, and I asked the board of directors there, listen, who do you think's more passionate about your team, your fans or your players? And they looked at me and said, of course, our fans. We have the best fans in the world. And I said, well, there's your problem. If your customers are more passionate about your business than your staff, if your customers know more about your business than your staff, you're in deep trouble right there. If your customers know more about your competitors than your staff do, you're in massive problems. If your staff are not the most passionate, if they don't understand the history of the company, if they don't know how you started, if they can't tell, if they don't know the vision of the organization. I walk into some company and say, well, what's the vision of the company here? Where's this company going? And they talk about numbers. They talk about, well, we're aiming to do 10 million this year. That's not a vision. That's a goal, okay? That's a milestone. That's a marker point. That's definitely not a vision.